So welcome to Motive Mondays. I am Lynn. Wealth as usual. It's a wealthy day in the neighborhood. Thank you so much for choosing to be my wealthy neighbor. I am excited about this new journey in this direction. When it comes down to Motive Mondays, it's all about what is our motives. The definition of a motive is the cause for people to induce a certain action. And in the case State versus Willis, motive is described as the moving course, the impulse, the desire that induces criminal action on the part of the accused. And for me, when it comes down to motive, I think about, I find myself, and I'm 33, I got a lot of years still ahead of me, but a good amount of years behind me. And I find myself thinking about mortality more often than not, especially when it comes down to this wealth thing, because we're built on the foundation of a wise man leaves an inheritance for their children's children. And I figure that the best way to start with motive, as far as embarking into this Motive Monday journey, is stating what my motive is. And my motive is that I want to die empty. I really feel like we are only here for a certain amount of time. We are well aware that everybody has a start date and an expiration date. And my biggest thing is what I'm going to do with it. Every day I wake up and I I live my life in a way where I want to fully exhaust myself, fully give, fully live in my purpose. And if that is you, then you want to be a part of this journey here. Because when it comes down to our motives and how do we execute living fully exhausting ourselves, fully exhausting our hands, our feet, our mouth, our eyes to be able to fulfill purpose. That's all we honestly have. That's all that is available to us, and whatever gift or craft that we may have that's available to us. So with that being the case, with this wealth journey, I'm finding myself, number one, going more so for seeking after problems. And one of the problems that I see more often than not is the Black community. When it comes down to the African American race, we have the lowest credit score amongst other races. We are the highest percent when it comes to poverty. We have the lowest wealth median. And you may feel like, I'm an individual. That does not affect me. But the thing is that we are a family. We are a tribe. The things that affect you are on an individual scale, but what happens when you have children that start to suffer from these same issues? Well, I wouldn't allow my children to go through that. But you do it for your cousins, you do it for your aunts, you do it for your uncles, you do it for your mother and your father. When you turn a blind eye to the political state, the social state, and the historical state of our community dynamics. So this is more about us coming together to figure out what exactly is it that's going on within our communities. Let's look at ourselves at the generational trauma. Yes, generational curses have been broken, but we are still living in a state of wage slavery, and we can combat these things. We can combat these things by community building. We can combat these things through group economics. We can combat these things by addressing the generational traumas that impact our community. What's up, Pork Chop? How you doing, my cousin Portia? But Motive Mondays is all about the what causes, what effects are we taking to positively impact our community. That's all that these particular conversations are going to discuss. It'll be discussed through the 7 spheres of wealth. So we'll be talking about spiritual wealth. We'll be talking about physical wealth. We'll be talking about social wealth. We'll be talking about the influence, the wealth of our influence, the wealth of our communities, generational wealth. Generational wealth is not finances. Generational wealth is our decisions. What decisions are we making today to positively impact our communities? How can we transition our communities, our family, our tribe from a state of broke and brokenness? You know, broke meaning financially broken, brokenness as far as the emotional, psychological trauma that we have previously experienced. How can we mend those fences? We are a divided group. We are the most powerful group, but we're the most powerful divided group. Our finances that we contribute to each industry, whether it be water, whether it be clothes, whether it be food, we spend more than 14%, like we contribute to 14% of the overall wealth of those groups, but we do not have enough black businesses. Out of the black businesses that we do have, only 2% of black businesses have employees, where there are 60.5% of black employees or black labor force. That's a problem. It's a problem where we have 42% of our labor force about to be fired due to automation, and we're not doing anything to combat it. It's an issue when we're experiencing mass gentrification, and gentrification is not an issue. The issue is that we're not financially benefiting from gentrification. It'd be one thing if we were investing back in our communities and we had black owned, black profited, black invested communities, but we don't have those things. We have other people coming into our communities and benefiting and profiting out of us. And the only thing that we have to be able to show for it is a rundown house, a job that you can't pass down. And even when it comes down to the life insurance, it's barely enough to be able to take care of expenses. Not even, people can't even afford to pay that monthly life insurance expense. Even if it's just 10,000 might just be enough to get you cremated. You know, so we have to be more cognitive. We have to be more intentional. Check our motives. Every Monday, we're coming here to check our motives, to figure out, why are we living? What exactly is our purpose? What are we here to do with our time? How do you feel about what I said? What do you feel like your motives are, and what you feel like your purpose is in this in building the community? Everything about us is an assignment. Everything, like everything from your race to your family, to your, whether you're rich or poor, whether you're gay or straight, even down to the traumatic experiences. You know, we always talk about the type of cards that we are dealt, and how can we use these particular cards that we are dealt to win. All of that is an assignment. It's an assignment to be able to build the community, all of this is about our kingdom building. And the issue with our community is that we have no kingdom. We have no nation. We are a nation of people without a true sense of home. And even down to the generational curse of children being kicked out at an early age, or down to the generational curse of women or men feeling like they have to get married just to be able to have a sense of security, or to be able to separate from their particular family tribe. These are issues. These are issues that our communities face. And knowing these things, how do we make sure that we are combating? You definitely agree. We need togetherness as a whole. Wealth comes in many forms, but the wealth of knowledge and no action can hold us back. Exactly. It's the transfer of information. It's how can we use the wealth of knowledge that we have to work in each other's favors. If there is it's 20 million of black abortions to take place in our community alone. That's a lot. Out of 46.8 million black people, 20 million black children are being aborted. And there are several reasons why abortions occur. Not saying anything against Roe versus Wade. Sometimes it is rape or molestation. Sometimes poverty is a factor where you can't afford it. Sometimes it's just a child that's too young to be able to have it, or a person that is mentally, psychologically immature that cannot be able to handle a child. But let's not talk. Before we talk about the symptoms of the issue that causes abortion. Let's go back to the place where women where there was a sisterhood amongst women, where we talked about how to value yourself. You know, what does it mean, as opposed to just shoving principles down children's throats. You know, saying exactly what does it mean to respect yourself? What are some reasons why you don't want to go through this particular path? Not that I'm trying to prohibit you from living life and having experiences, but while you out here living your life, having your experiences, I want you to be protective of yourself. I want you to be able to understand your value as a woman, what you have to contribute to the world, that there is generations that's inside of you that's going to benefit, or it's going to be a detriment based off of the decisions that you make today. The decisions that you make today are important. The actions that you take now are important. And regardless of how young or how old you are, you can start at this moment checking your motives, checking the reason why you're here, checking your purpose. And even if it's out of hurt, it's out of pain, your reaction to certain things, you desire fulfillment. Try your best to find a community. And if you can't find a community, the people that do have the ability, the gift to love and create safe spaces for other people, try your best to bring let's start doing group therapy sessions, group conversations, group dialogues, even down to the family structures. When we have a group of cousins, that the elders have their own thought constructs of how they did things, and we have gotten to a point where we have evolved, we've gotten better, and we know the experiences that we've experienced with our elders, and the way that they did things wasn't necessarily beneficial for all of us as a whole. How do we get to a place where we can start having dialogues and be like, hey, I went through that as well, and I want you to know that, you know, I know our family members, how they respond to this particular circumstance, but this is not that. You know, there's a different way to go about this. You can use this opportunity to be able to work in your favor. You can use this particular trauma, this particular trial, this particular tribulation to grow and evolve forward. This is not the ending point for you. And a lot of times people make us feel like because we're going through a particular circumstance, or we're in a particular situation, or our life is set up in a particular way, that they make us feel like we're less than for going through that. But you went through it. You know, not to disrespect anybody else or whatever, but if you are a promiscuous mother, what's the likelihood that you think that your child won't be a promiscuous daughter or promiscuous son? Having these dialogues, or even if you went through some type of traumatic event, as opposed to being the type of tribe that don't say anything about what happened, what occurred prior to your existence. We're not passing down the information. This what goes on in this house stays in this house thought construct has us in a mental, emotional, psychological prison. It has enjailed us to be the same and to do the same things and have the same habits, and we will all die the same. But I'd be doggone I'd be doggone if I live the same way that my ancestors lived, go through the same trauma that my ancestors went through. And as much as I love them and I'm grateful that I was able to come through them, but I am going to live this life in a way that's going to positively impact not just myself, not just my tribe, but my community and 7 to 10 generations from me. And so if you have that thought construct, if you believe in being able, not being able to, but in making generational changes, seriously, live every day like you want to make generational changes. And it doesn't matter the opportunities that come with, like, there's always an opportunity to make a generational change. Your life is a gift and you are to be a steward of it. I love stewardship, because stewardship talks about the responsibility of taking what you have and being fruitful of it, being an investor in it, taking care, properly managing it. You don't want to mismanage this life, this breath, these relationships, even if they seem minuscule, even if you have had some type of odds, some type of problems or frictions with friends or family members. Let's figure out how we can get on the same page. It's important that we figure out how we can get on the same page. Repentance first. You know, I apologize for the part that I played in it, but let's talk about what happened to cause this friction, and let's be able to see things from each other's perspective. Empathy is the easiest way to forgive. Being able to put yourself in another person's shoes and figure out if you would have made the same decisions that they made. Chances are you would have, if you had the same circumstances that surrounded that particular situation, where there had been fear, where there had been pain. Being in a space of deciding that out, I'm gonna look at things from your perspective, and then I'm gonna forgive you because I would have made those decisions, and we're gonna move forward from it, and we're gonna figure out how we can make better decisions. And that creates a connection of trust. That builds a bridge of trust, because now I know that you're not going to backbite me. You're not going to go and recirculate my mess and tell it all around the community. And if you are telling other people, tell other people to help. Tell other people to empower. Tell other people to combat and change things. You know, if we're sharing information, somebody else went through the same thing that you went through over there. We shouldn't be gossiping about each other just to be gossip, to say, oh, this person is doing worse than I am. It should be more of, what can I learn from their experience? We were learning in school that we couldn't cheat off of each other's tests and compare and contrast notes on previous experiences. And that's craziness. Why wouldn't I try to learn and try to study from the experience of someone else so that I can be more effective in the life that I'm living? That sounds like insanity. And we are insane for acting such ways. So we have to kill these mental, emotional, psychological thought constructs that prohibit us from being effective as a whole, as a tribe. There's so much work to do when it comes down to the Black community. It requires kingdom building. We have to rebuild our homes. We have to rebuild our tribes. We have to rebuild our communities. We have to be invested and intentional about the growth that we do, because we can live differently. This is great motivation. Got to get back to studying. Keep it up. Oh, thank you so much. But we have to get back to being intentional. We have to get back to get into a place of being intentional about how we use our life, how we use this day, how we use this moment, how we use our relationships, our dollars to make positive intergenerational impact. Intergenerational generation is 20 to 30 years. Intergenerational is several 20 to 30 years. So when you're thinking intergenerational, and I want to positively impact the next 10 generations, I want to positively impact the next 300 years of Harrises, of Baileys, of Fosters, of Watkins, those who are connected to me, Howards. I want to positively impact those generations by my words, by my actions, by my thoughts, by even my dollars. Where I invest my money, today could create a job for my child in the future. Where I invest my money today can create jobs for my nephews and my cousins and my nieces. Where I invest my dollars today can positively impact generations. So we cannot live just for us. We have to choose to live for those that come after us. And this is what Motive Mondays is about. It's about choosing daily to live not just for you, but live for the people that come after you. I hope that this resonates with you. If you do enjoy it, continue to like, continue to comment, give me some feedback on what you think, how you feel about these particular discussions, and we're just gonna keep moving forward. Never want to be on here for too long, but just long enough to let you guys know that I am here, that I see you, and let's get to work. Let's get to work on building our kingdom. All right, wealthy.